Hi there, welcome. I want to get right into this because I have figured out Rafflebones. I figured out his spawn locations. I figured out the patterns that he moves in, that he spawns in, and just everything you really want to know about him. I figured that out. So first off, I want to give credit to the video that inspired this. I saw a YouTube video that it claimed that there was a set location in Eden Grove that he spawned every single day. And even though that's not the case, I'm gonna link that video in the comments because it did inspire this and it put me down this path. That's basically where I started. If there was a set location that he spawns every single day, maybe he moves around in a set location, and if he does do that, then I could figure out, okay, where's he gonna spawn next and when's he gonna spawn. It's not that easy, but there's some situations where it is sort of that easy. So the first spawn of the day, as far as I can tell, it does not matter where that location is. If a player is in an area where Rafflebones can spawn in a level 60 area, first off, I'm going to start by saying I'm only talking about level 66 Rafflebones. I'm not talking about those low level ones at all. But if a player is in the area, close enough to the point where Rafflebones can spawn or other mobs can spawn, then that's where it's going to spawn. First spawn of the day, it will be instant. It will just be wherever he can spawn and wherever someone is. And so from there, after he spawns the first time, he moves in a pattern. He starts out spawning at wherever. Let's say he spawned in Eden Grove. The next spawn, he'll be in Shattered Mountain. The next spawn after that, he'll be in Reekwater, and so on. After Reekwater, it'll go back to Eden Grove. Every territory is a little bit different. His spawn patterns are different. I don't know why that is. I think he was coded a little bit differently for each one. Maybe a different team coded them. I'm not really even sure, and I do suspect that there's some bugs still sort of surrounding him, and I'm going to go over that here in a bit. So I'm going to go over some consistent parts of Rafflebones first before I get into the exact details for each territory. The consistent parts about Rafflebones are there has to be a player in the area. He won't spawn unless there's a player close enough to make him spawn. That's just the way the game works. Mobs don't spawn when there's people not around. In high pop servers, though, it's going to be a bit of a toss-up because there's going to be people pretty much everywhere. Rafflebones, he is considered a lost mob. So your lost coatings will be effective, your lost trophies will be effective, lost bane weapons will be effective. Those will all change your damage against him. If he spawns in a location and the player that spawned him didn't see him, which I'm guessing happens a lot. If someone just running by, he spawns, they didn't see. Rafflebones will despawn after 5 minutes if no players pass that location again. And that's kind of a key part of it. Because if there's a player in the area consistently, like if it's a very frequently heavily traveled spot and people aren't checking the exact spot, he could go sitting there for quite a while before anyone finds him. And as long as someone gets in his area of influence or whatever, close enough to spawn him, within 5 minutes, from what I've seen, he will stay there indefinitely. If you aggro him and you don't manage to kill him, after 45 seconds, that's the time window, it's like 45 seconds, he'll explode and you won't receive any loot. So that only happens if you aggro him. You can sit back and watch him. I sat back and watched him for like an hour one time just to see if he would despawn, and he did not. But the second that you get close enough to aggro him, or the second that you hit him with a shot, and this is on the PTR that I'm doing this, it's a little bit different in live. In live right now, you can stand up on something and you can shoot him indefinitely and he will not aggro. But it's all about the aggro. Once he starts aggroed, you've got 45 seconds to kill him. And that is true on live right now, but you can't just stand up and shoot him indefinitely without him aggroing like you can on live right now. The spawn rate, he spawns once per hour in each territory. The timers are independent in each territory, so if no one's killed him in a long time, you can scoop up 3 kills very quickly, and I've got a video of myself doing that, and I'll show you how I did it. I want to talk about the differences between locations now. From what I can tell with Eden Grove, it does not matter where you are. He does not spawn in any sort of pattern. Anywhere where there's a player and it's a Rafflebones spawn, he has a chance to spawn there. Because I'm doing this on the PTR, and it's a dead PTR. There's like 4 or 5 people on here at the most, and they're all playing the 3v3s. They're not actually in the world at all. Every location I go to in Eden Grove, when it's time for Rafflebones to spawn, he does spawn. And so I just went to the same location every single time, and you'll see that location. I don't know if there's a preference on certain spawn locations in Eden Grove. My guess is that it's going to be completely random. He'll spawn, it'll just be random on where he goes. If there's multiple areas where there's a player close enough to spawn him, then he'll just spawn at one of the locations. In Shattered Mountain, it's very similar to Eden Grove. He will spawn in any location as long as the player is close enough for him to be able to spawn in. But it was a little bit buggy. It seemed like he didn't want to spawn in the same location over and over and over. Sometimes I had to mix it up a little bit, and it seemed like after 4 times of him spawning in the exact same location, he didn't want to spawn there. And so I went to a new location. Then after about 4 times of him spawning there, he didn't want to spawn there anymore. I went back to the old location, he started spawning there. I don't think that there's really like there's like a soft limit on how many times he'll spawn in a row in one location, which is kind of odd. I don't know if that's a bug or that was intended, or if that's really even the mechanic. That's just my experience, and it seemed to hold very true though throughout all my testing. Looking at a map of reekwater, because in reekwater, Rafflebones spawns differently than in Shattered Mountain and in Eden Grove. In reekwater, he spawns in a set pattern, and I have numbered the pattern as he spawns. So the first spawn location will always be at this one labeled 1. The second one will always be at this one labeled 2, and the third one will always be at this one labeled 3, and so on. The way that works is he'll spawn here, then you have to go to Eden Grove, find and kill him, or he has to spawn and be killed, or spawn and despawn. Then in Shattered Mountain, same deal. Then he'll come back and he'll spawn here at the second location. Now it is a little bit buggy in reekwater because sometimes he just won't spawn. I don't know what's going on there. I think maybe he spawns below the map, or just somewhere where you cannot reach him, and you just have to run away and let him despawn and move on. It's a little bit funky with that, and it's hard to tell, but if you waited there for too long, maybe just go to the next spot and wait there. With it though, because I was doing this all solo, I wasn't able to find each number. I'm guessing this is number 11, but I have no clue because it bugged out on me. He didn't spawn, and so this was his next spawn. I don't have it fully mapped, and I'm going to need a little bit of help with that, I think, because it's just very difficult to hit them all in one day solo. But this is what I have so far. I think it's really great base work. With that knowledge, if you know where he last spawned in reekwater, you could very easily farm 1 an hour by just going to the next spawn location. This is going to be something that I'm going to continue to work on, and I'm going to figure out. And if you guys figure it out, what the order of the next spawn locations are, please let me know. Hopefully I've been showing some footage of me killing Rafflebones, because I've got like a ton of footage of me killing Rafflebones. But I am going to show the quick rotation I did where I killed him in about 10 minutes. And like I said, I really appreciate you watching. If you could like and subscribe, I'd appreciate that too. This took me a pretty long time to figure out and just to do. I had a lot of bad assumptions coming into it, and just a lot of crazy stuff happening. It was surprising how different he was in each location. And then with some of the buggy stuff going on, that was kind of frustrating. I'm going to show some different situations that you might be interested in. Like, I might show evidence of if you leave him for 5 minutes. I might not show that, though, because there's so much footage here. I don't want to make a really long video, but I did want to make it long enough that I can include all this information, because a ton of information that I wasn't sure on coming into this experience, but now I'm very sure on all of this. So if you have any questions, or if I missed anything, please let me know. If I'm wrong about any of this, please let me know, because I'm sure that I'm not 100% right on all this, but I feel very confident with how this has been playing out. It seems very consistent. I'm testing it on live currently. It's operating in the same way on live. Well, I just wanted to get this out there. And yeah, thanks for watching.